In everybody's hearts and minds tonight is what happened in Jasper, especially if you're a Canadian and especially if you've ever been to Alberta and that part of Alberta. It's picture postcard beautiful and not something you ever want to see ruined. And as the day went on today, I was trying to look at reports of how did this fire start? And I saw reports, somebody had said that a bear cub climbed up onto an electrical tower or electrical wire and burned, and that's how that started. But that you cannot have a fire of that devastation from a bear cub setting itself on fire. So that was one theory I heard. I heard from lots of mainstream media reports that it was lightning strikes, and some people obviously think DEW. Now, we've seen very weird images and very weird fires, and then authorities doing weird things where they block highways and don't let you drive out. And of course, I've heard reports of that also. But let's just take a look at what one what is the mainstream saying right now. So I'll play a report from CTV.
Well, the province clarified today that it's not calling the shots fighting this fire and the other two fires. Jasper is federal jurisdiction, and when it comes to tactics, Alberta's hands are tied. So Nariman Issa joins us with more on this side of the story. So Nariman, you spoke with the Premier about this today. What did she have to say?
Well, Ken, the Premier said
this is a problem. This is what they're saying. Danielle Smith had increased the provincial fire budget by 50%, I believe, but this is Jasper National Park. So this is a federal issue.
as they couldn't use certain equipment such as night vision helicopters until they got the go-ahead from Parks Canada. The province is calling for a unified command center when it comes to logistics of this firefight.
A unified command center, that makes sense if the province is calling for that. Okay, let's go.
For many generations, the town of Jasper and the parks surrounding it have been a source of pride.
An emotional Danielle Smith holds back tears as she describes what Jasper means to Albertans.
We share this sense of loss with all of those who live in the town, who care for it, and who have helped build it.
The province is providing support to the Jasper firefight. However, it's complicated when it comes to who is actually in charge of protecting the town. While Jasper is in Alberta, the national park and town site are federal jurisdiction.
The ultimate decision on who.
So there you go. Therein lies the problem, that it is a federal problem. And so, I mean, a lot of people are complaining about that. A little bit later on in this video, I'm going to show you a fire from 1998, actually. And let's just take a look at the difference. But first of all, let's look at what people are saying about this. If you have thoughts or if you've heard reports on how this fire actually started, let me know, like put it in the comments. So let's just have a look at what some people are saying on Twitter. The 12.4 billion we've wasted in Ukraine, oh geez, would buy 335 of these. How many has the government of Canada added to our arsenal over the last decade? I think they actually get rid of bombers like this. I was talking to a reporter, it was Jim Goddard, who did an interview with me, and I tried to get hold of him tonight, but I couldn't because it's quite late as I'm taping this. And they have these very efficient water bombing aircraft that can prevent forest fires or knock them out quickly. But for some reason, we choose here in BC not to have them, and sounds like in other provinces too. Oh man, let's just look at this video. We've seen stuff like this over and over lately. Everything's burning. How can lightning is causing this? I don't understand. I don't understand how this cannot be contained. Oh, one report I also heard, somebody had said that it was DEI firefighters that were brought in to train, and then they couldn't, handle the fire. I don't know about that. I've talked about this in a previous podcast, what I feel about DEI. I'll put a clip of that somewhere. It was in the Shadow Davis, beg your pardon, podcast that I did. An Alberta treasure burnt and gone. Like this is really depressing. And let's see what other images. Oh, gosh. Oh my God. Like an inferno. How does it get like this? How does this happen? I saw a very interesting Facebook post today. Okay, 5 devastating fires in 5 different locations. Paradise, California, 2020. Lytton, BC, 2021. Lahaina, Maui, 2023. So let's look at the pictures. Okay, let's look at the cars. Hope this is nice and big so you could see. Okay, these are the cars. That's Paradise, 2020. Okay, and this is Lytton, 2021. Cars totally burnt. Oh, and look at this. We're seeing a lot of just burnt car in Lahaina, Maui. There we are, some images there. It's very curious, like, and so it made me think, okay, well, just because there's so much scuttlebutt about DEW, it made me think, let's have a look at some fires of the past. Did it always look like this? Did the devastation always look like this? Like, we have very short memories. I mean, sometimes you can live in a neighborhood for years and see a building or see a row of houses, and all of a sudden something gets demolished and a new build goes up, and then you go, what was there before? You almost can't remember unless you see a picture, because we just don't retain this type of information. Do you know what I mean? Memories are short sometimes. So let's have a look at a fire from this is something I found from the Salmon Arm Observer. This is a report, Searing Memories of the 1998 Silver Creek wildfire in the Shuswap. The Shuswap is always plagued with these problems. But let's just have a look and see if we can notice any differences from the fires that are happening today to the fires from the past.
And if fire starts, they pretty well know how bad it's going to be.
These are two firefighters.
But I looked around and it was daylight and the sky was red. And I mean, it really did fill me with awe. I knew something huge was happening. I never dreamt it would be, as huge as it was.
And with fire service, it's always safety is first. Number one concern is safety. My job literally was to stop the heavy equipment from going in.
That shot reminds me of the back burn that just happened last summer. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
It was unsafe at the time. So that wasn't a pleasant job for me. So the whole fire, 90 days, there were no injuries, no deaths. So we're happy about that.
No injuries, no deaths.
We were told that at about 9:30, 10 o'clock was that the wind would come down and the fire would sweep through Salmon Arm.
Okay.
Everybody was prepared.
Well, here's the cars. The fires in the background in the back. None of the cars are burnt here. So, I mean, it's hard to say the timing. I mean, people look like they're driving these cars out of town here. So these obviously aren't parked cars. These are people escaping. But let's just look a little more. I'm not seeing a burnt car just yet.
For the worst, right? And we sat there and it was like you could hear a pin drop in the town because there was nobody. But everybody had sort of held their breath. We waited and 9 o'clock came. We knew we had half an hour left. And then it was 9:15, then 9:30. And suddenly it was a quarter to 10 and 10 and it didn't come. The winds that had been predicted to destroy Salmon Arm did not come. Somehow there was a wind channel or something out in Deep Creek, and the wind swept through Deep Creek where there was no fire at that point. So it missed Salmon Arm somehow.
Well, that was lucky. So it's hard to say how all these devastating things are happening. I mean, like, is Banff next? And how does this happen to this degree? I don't understand this anymore. Because when you think about how fires are start naturally, they say campfire. So there's no there's campfire bans a lot. They're not saying that this is campfire. Cigarette butt cannot do this. Okay, so pine beetle infestation might be a problem. How is it getting this bad? But mind you, looking at that Salmon Arm fire, forest fires, they do get bad. It's just that we need a budget. We need better equipment to put the fires out. A lot of things, Fort McMurray burned down, Lytton burned down, Shuswap fires last year, Jasper burned down. What's going to happen? Are they going to go for Banff next? These are gorgeous gorgeous. I mean, Banff is one of the most beautiful places on earth. We don't want anything to happen to it. And this is pretty damn devastating for Alberta and for Canada on the whole. As a whole, as a country, we're very proud of the natural beauty we have in BC and in Alberta and all across Canada. Um, just thought I would end with looking at a post from this guy Marty up north. You might follow him, but he has so much information packed into all of his posts. It's like a newspaper. I think Twitter accounts nowadays or X accounts are like people's individual newspaper. Who needs a newspaper when you can have X? So let's have a look at what Marty up north had to say. Jasper National Park has been my backyard and my playground for 35 years. There isn't a trail in the park I haven't hiked. During those 35 years, I've seen a lot of mismanagement, but nothing like what I witnessed during the last decade. I've ranted about it in all my videos, talked about it online, discussed it with other users, and even written to the staff. The devastation that's happening right before our eyes was totally predictable. We all saw the hillsides covered in dead, beetle infested pines. Forests are living ecosystems that go through life and death cycles. The fires are natural, but didn't have to be this dramatic. Park managers should have conducted some controlled burns and cleared dead forest, right? As usual, everyone is full of prayers. That's not what we need. We need to abandon this woke ideology that has infiltrated all our institutions. We need heads to roll after this one. Don't praise the fire chief for his efforts. His primary job was to prevent forest fires, not put them out. And he says a lot here. He goes, criticize the politicians who sent billions to the Ukraine meat grinder instead of buying water bombers. Exactly. If forest fires are such a problem, then buy the damn equipment that you need. Stop sending money everywhere else, for God's sake. Canada first. His last sentence, he says, I'm beginning to think this really is by design. Ottawa doesn't want Alberta to have anything nice. Anyway, I just thought I'd just do that quick little video on Jasper. Pretty sad. Pretty sad. Leave me some comments below. I do read all the comments. Let me know what you think and how you feel about this and what you want to see changed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe and share if you can. It does help out because that YouTube algorithm is smacking everyone's butt nowadays, especially mine. Have Jasper in your thoughts. That's really not the news we wanted to hear today. Thanks for watching.